must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for joining us. It is 3 p.m. here in Nairobi, East African time. My name is Mira Mugutu, and the show is Diaspora Dispatches, where we get to look at the news making headlines or the trending stories or the things that are of importance across the continent of Africa. And of course, as we speak right now, the election petition, presidential election petition is underway there in Uganda, and we've been watching snippets of it, and so that will form the basis of our conversation this afternoon. We know that Bobi Wine filed his petition last week on Wednesday, almost ran out of time there. And even right now, I think one of the arguments that is being affronted by the lawyers representing President Yoweri Museveni is that the new amendments that Bobi Wine introduced, I think today, they're not time bound there. And the High Court, one of the judges there asked, and why is it? Because Bobi Wine was being held there under house arrest, so he did not have enough time. So why is it that he was not allowed to file this petition on time? I don't know if you've been watching and you've been following this event from Uganda, and what is your thought, even as the election petition there is ongoing there in Uganda. And so today they were making, I think, their submissions there. So Ugandan politician Robert Kyagulanyi, alias Bobi Wine, who was the runner-up in last month's presidential election last week on Wednesday, asked the country's Supreme Court to annul the victory of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the ruling National Resistance Movement Party. Wine also wants the judges to declare the Electoral Commission failed to conduct the January 14th general election in accordance with the law, and as such, Mr. Museveni was not validly elected. And today I will attempt to go through some of the things that Bobi Wine has included in his petition. Like I said there, he did file last Wednesday, but yesterday he amended. So we will see initially what did Bobi Wine file, and what grounds does he want the Supreme Court there in Uganda to nullify the win of President Yoweri Museveni, who was elected for his 6th term? Remember, President Museveni has served Uganda for nearly 35 years now. So all right, go ahead. So keep writing to me, and I'll read some of your comments as we continue with the show this afternoon. And I'm really grateful that you found time to join us today. So in a petition filed at a Supreme Court in Kololo, a Kampala suburb, the National Unity Platform, NUP, leader asked the court to order fresh elections. This happened last Wednesday. The EC's non-compliance with the law affected the final outcome of the ballot. So, Bobi Wine is saying, looking at everything else that happened during the voting day, I mean, the court has no option but to order for fresh elections there, and substantially in determination of election disputes related to prove that an impugnment action, commission or omission prior to or on voting day had real and considerable impact on results, without which advantage a declared victor would not have won. And Bobi Wine's petition is the fourth such attempt to overturn Mr. Museveni's victory in 6 elections superintended by the latter's government since 1996. Four-time presidential candidate Kizza Besigye challenged Mr. Museveni in 2001 and 2006 re-elections, and the Supreme Court judges found evidence of voting irregularities and rigging, but decided they did not reflect the final result substantially. Now, in 2016, as we all know, a court upheld Mr. Museveni's re-election, then challenged by former Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi, who stood as an independent candidate. In his attempt, Bobi Wine has so far engaged 7 lawyers from 5 law firms to represent him in the legal battle, in which he raises at least 26 grounds against Mr. Museveni, the Electoral Commission, as well as the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda. And we shall be looking at some of these 26 grounds. There are others against President Museveni himself, there are others against the Electoral Commission, and we shall see those ones against the Attorney General of the country. And of course, the latest, as we speak right now, we know that Bobi Wine says he has how many lawyers? A few of them. About how many lawyers? 7 lawyers. But NRM has about 40 lawyers. I was watching a statement there by their lead counsel, and they're saying, you know what, NRM cannot be defeated. We have 40 good lawyers from across Uganda. So this, they're saying that the claims by Bobi Wine do not hold any ground. So to help me out in this conversation this afternoon, and of course I'll be engaging with you right to us on this comment section, and I shall be going through some of your comments. And I think the images going through the screen right now, those are very some videos that came out after internet was restored in Uganda that showed how some alleged rigging was taking place, and those ballot papers you're seeing right now were pre-ticked, and so they were pre-ticked in favor of President Museveni. So there was ballot, stuffing there. So those are some of the claims that the opposition has to prove in court right now. So thank you so much. I'm joined by Douglas Kirimi. Douglas, a very good afternoon to you.
Very good afternoon to you, Miriam Ogutu, and also to our viewers across the world.
All right. Thank you so much, and welcome to the show. Rashid Kimala, you're saying thank you for the show. Nafuna Aisha, look, it's a pleasure. We are all in it. If something is happening somewhere across this continent, I think we all have a responsibility to speak because I know people right now, even the media in Uganda, the manner in which they're covering this story is quite interesting. I think that's the difference, because in Kenya we have our own struggles. Don't get me wrong, we have our own struggles. Sometimes even the media and the government, rubbing each other the wrong way. But there are some provincials that, we cannot. The government respects the freedom of the media in this country, so you can hardly see us too much meddling. Because a lot of people died fighting for this space that we enjoy, so we don't take it lightly. But of course, freedom comes with a responsibility. So, we try to do our best. So thank you so much. Keep writing and let me know what is happening there in Uganda. So, Douglas, as we speak right now, I was just watching the proceedings there in the High Court, in the Supreme Court in Uganda, and I think today they're making their submissions there, and they are. One of the things, the grounds that Bobi Wine wants these elections to be nullified, the first one, he cited the electoral laws. So perhaps you just go through them a little bit. He has 26 grounds, and yesterday he amended some. Maybe let's just go through this, and then we'll go through the ones that have been amended there. So in the petition, Bobi Wine says that the presidential election held on the 14th day of January 2021 was not held in accordance with the provisions of the electoral laws and the principles governing elections, which non-compliance affected the results of the election in a substantial manner. He adds the first respondent, that is Mr. Museveni, was not validly elected as the president. His election be annulled and set aside, and a fresh election be conducted in accordance with the law. And now, under this ground, Bobi Wine contends that the presidential election was not conducted in accordance with principles laid down in the Constitution, the Presidential Election Act, and the Electoral Commission Act. He argues that the government refused or neglected to cause amendment of relevant laws, which would have ensured a free and fair elections as earlier directed by the Supreme Court in the Amama Mbabazi versus Yoweri Museveni presidential poll petition of 2016. Remember, even the last elections before this year's election, President Yoweri Museveni's win was challenged in court, and while the court did not find substantial grounds to nullify the whole election, but it agreed there were some irregularities that happened during that election, but the court went ahead to give some things that it was saying must be done, some electoral reforms that was supposed to take place before this year's election. But as it is, the government of Uganda did not bother to comply with that directive from last ruling in the Supreme Court in regards to Amama Bambazi, in that case that he went to petition challenging President Museveni's win. And so we see that happens. So that is the first ground that Bobby Wine laid there as one of his key articles there to challenge President Museveni's win. Douglas, I don't know, what is your take on that? Non-compliance of the other Supreme Court directive.
Thank you, Miriam. And also, we need to demystify the issue in Uganda. In Uganda, they are no longer following the rule of law. They follow anything that comes from General Museveni, and also they follow his orders. We saw that when General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the son to General Museveni, the chief of the army, when he was giving orders over the Twitter, and then people started saying that the general is a drunk and all that, and also the Inspector General of Police. These people have been contravening the electoral laws in Uganda and also the law of the land. The rule of law does not apply in Uganda. All that I hope is that Bobby Wine will also surpass the Supreme Court and also go to ICC. Because at the end of the day, we can no longer continue trusting Museveni even in court. Nobody goes in court and also tries to justify what they have done, stealing an election, and also they have not complied with previous orders of the court. What makes it true, or what forms the basis of a question? The question should be: is General Museveni going to actually comply with other court orders, because the court will also give other directions now? It is a matter of wait and see, but we know the result is that General Museveni is not going to accept or even acquaint himself with orders that will be given by the court. If in 2016 the orders were never complied with, this is the same government, same Museveni 36 years ago, and this is the same man that we are walking into the future with, unless the world intervenes, unless the US intervenes, unless the International Criminal Court comes for General Museveni and his people in power. We can no longer have the sanity that we expect to have at Supreme Court and also beyond there in government in Uganda, Miriam.
Okay, Errol, thank you so much. So let's see what the Supreme Court, some of the recommendations that the Supreme Court, actually it was, last time during the 2016 presidential petition. So some of Supreme Court's 10 recommendations at that time, Supreme Court gave 10 recommendations. Among others were that time for filing and determination of a presidential election petition be increased from 30 to at least 60 days. That has not taken place. The Constitution was not changed to accommodate that provision, that recommendation by the Supreme Court. Use of oral evidence in addition to affidavit evidence be accepted in court. And if whatever we've been seeing on social media is to go by, that means some of this evidence is not admissible in a Ugandan court there, because that part was also not included in the Constitution. And time for holding a fresh election where the previous election has been nullified be increased from the currently prescribed 20 days to more. Now, the judges also ordered that technology in election be backed by law and sanctions against any state organ or officer for violating election laws. All this and other propositions are yet to be implemented, if ever, 5 years after the judge's decision. So this is just one of the things that Bobby Wine is citing as the reason as to why President Museveni's victory should be nullified. Does he have ground to bring up the recommendations from the other ruling in 2016? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. One thing we need to understand is that bringing rulings from previous elections and also petitions in Supreme Court, this is a practice all over the world. I'm not a lawyer, but I have some little background in terms of law. I have seen people use court rulings from even other countries and also argue them in their country, and also they apply, because I've used them before, and I know that these ones from Bobby Wine can be used in this case, and also is going to make sense in a court of law. For example, if General Museveni cannot comply with court with the court process in 2016. What makes it true that now General Museveni is gonna comply with the court in 2021? It is on this basis that Bobi Wine is going to court, and I also believe that he is going to be listened to and is going to be given an audience at court, because it is the same court. The court has not changed. Maybe the lawyers and the judges and lawyers have changed, and also the candidates, but it is the same law. It is the same courts that have given the same orders that have not been complied with before. I think carrying forward these orders and also carrying forward as the basis of his case forms a very solid foundation for his own case, for him to be able to move forward with this case and also maybe win against General Museveni in Supreme Court. But like I've said, I've pronounced myself, like Dr. Masanga pronounced himself in that election. I don't believe in the Supreme Court in Uganda. I don't believe Bobi Wine is going to get justice, Miriam, in the Supreme Court of Uganda.
All right, so you're already seeing that Bobi Wine is disadvantaged there. Okay, very well. So the first one was the electoral law, and Bobi Wine, of course, was citing the previous ruling by the Supreme Court. So the second one of his of the grounds that he wants this election nullified is army interference. And under this ground, Bobi Wine accuses Mr. Museveni of allowing security agencies such as UPDF and police to commit murder, cause grievous bodily harm, violence and abduction and intimidation against NUP agents and supporters across the country. I mean, this is, I don't know if you watched another interview that President Museveni did just after the killings that happened there during the campaign season in November, and he was being asked about these deaths, and he actually said the security forces actually did it, and anybody who was trying to cause some problems in Uganda, they'll be met by similar law. That was just a rehearsal. So in other words, he's actually he incriminated himself and his government that truly they did carry out these killings. Douglas, can this be used in court to the grounds that Bobi Wine is advancing here in this regard?
Yes, Miriam, and also people should know that universally, there is no one that can kill people, especially an opposition leader, without the government knowing directly. So when Bobi Wine says that people were killed in Uganda, it is true that people died in Uganda. When we say that there is oppression of the people in Uganda, opposition supporters in Uganda, it is true. It is true that General Museveni has unleashed the army and also the police force and everyone, so that his elite forces, so that they can continue butchering the people of Uganda and stifling their voices and also stopping democracy from taking its course in Uganda. These are things that I think these same judges who had sit at the Supreme Court in Uganda can be able to consider and see that people have continued. I have also seen pictures that have been shared by Bobi Wine. He has documented these electoral malpractices and also intimidation against the voters and also especially the opposition voters. When you don't support General Museveni, it is either his way or the highway. I believe these are going to form the basis of a strong case, except that the Supreme Court judges will be compromised. I believe even the orders that they gave in 2016 and they were not complied with. I believe from the bottom of my heart, if these judges are not biased, I believe at the end of the day, they are going to go forward and also be able to nullify the election of General Museveni. But if they are not going to comply with the law and also follow the rule of law in determining these cases, I believe Bobi Wine can as well now continue. Instead of also waiting for this case to go forward, he can wait, he can continue and go to ICC. I believe at ICC he can get a fairer case and a fairer hearing and also judgment on his case, except that I don't believe that in Supreme Court in Uganda is going to get justice, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, very well. And still under the army interference, Bobi Wine cited an incident where security forces willfully and unlawfully obstructed him at the nomination center in Chambongo by pepper spraying, brutalizing and abducting him in a dehumanizing manner. I think we all saw that. See, a lot of these things, they play out in media, so he don't need to go very far to produce that evidence in court. I think we all saw that. And contrary to Section 70 of the Presidential Elections Act, officers of the UPF and UPDF unlawfully blocked and disrupted the petitioners' Bobi Wine manifestos launch at Kamwocha in Kampala at Kacheka Stadium in Barara district by spraying tear gas at the petitioner and members of his campaign team. Wine's petition documents are reads, and I think we all saw that. I think there's a video I was watching showing that incident that Bobi Wine is referring to. Now, the third of his ground is voter bribery claims. Bribery of voters is one of the common election malpractices that petitioners state. In this petition, Wine alleges that Mr. Museveni's consent, he caused the provision of money and other gifts to voters with the intent to influence them to vote him or refrain from voting the petitioner, contrary to Section 64 of the Presidential Elections Act. And then the fourth ground is election violence. Wine accuses the six-time presidential candidate of bragging about election violence right from 1980, 1996, 2001, 2006, 2011, 2016, and 2021 elections, resulting into unfair elections, and has proudly and publicly stated that NRM is the master of violence. And I think I saw that President Museveni is saying that nobody can defeat the NRM, and when he was saying, when the reporter was asking him about the 54 Ugandans that had died during the campaign from the opposition side there in November, and he said, you know what, that was just a rehearsal. So Bobi Wine's team is using this as evidence, and they're saying election violence was perpetrated by the state. Can President Yoweri Museveni argue himself out of this, really?
Thank you, Miriam. And remember, when a boxer, I don't remember his name, died in Kampala, General Museveni went on live television and international television and confirmed that his security forces have killed the man, and he is very sorry to the family. These things are very unfathomable. We don't get ends of state going on national television and international media telling people how you are butchering your own people. On November 18th and 20th, 18th and 18th and 19th, General Museveni killed over 54 people in Uganda. And also he has continued killing the people of Uganda, and also continued his way of manhandling the people of Uganda using the security forces. These are strong bases on crimes against humanity, and also murder, and also displacement of people that General Museveni has been able to commit in this election for him to be able to commit another 5 years into his own hands. General Museveni did not win this election. He stole this election. He stuffed the ballot boxes. And this is evidence that has been documented that the Supreme Court of Uganda can only be influenced by the devil himself if they cannot be able to nullify this charade that was election in Uganda. Remember, Miriam, people have lost their lives for this general to keep power in Uganda. People have lost their lives so that this dictator, shameless dictator in Uganda, can continue being in power. When you look at it critically, it is only a judge that doesn't love Uganda and that is not a human being that can only continue perpetuating the regime of Museveni and also continue propagating the idea of keeping him in power. Okay. The only hope that the people of Uganda have, I am not a Ugandan, is the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court is going to fail them, the last resort that these people have is the International Criminal Court. And I believe General Museveni wouldn't want to be held into ICC. They need to come together and also find a way forward. If the Supreme Court says that General Museveni should go home, he needs to be able to come out very clearly and go home. He needs to go home and do other things. The country can move forward without him. They need to be able to take care of that, and also as a people progress and also move forward even without General Museveni, because he has stolen elections and he continues to do so with reckless abandon. For the people of Uganda to move forward, General Museveni must be defeated at the Supreme Court, and if the judges find it fit for him to continue being at the State House in Entebbe, they can do so. But they should know that crimes against humanity have been committed in Uganda, and propagating the idea of keeping this general in power, it is wrong by all means. Whoever, no matter who looks at it, including supporters of General Museveni, they know that very well, that the voices, the millions of voices of Ugandans have been stifled in this election, Miriam.
Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you really don't seem to have confidence there in the ruling or that case that just started there in the Supreme Court of Uganda. Of course, judging from previous, rulings, I will be skeptical if at all justice will be, down there, especially and some of these grounds that the opposition is raising, questions about the duly, election of President Museveni for his 6th term as the President of the Republic of Uganda. Paul Kagi, very nice to see you. Thank you so much for watching. You asking Miriam, did any country congratulate Museveni in his rigged winning? Yes, they tried, but Facebook flagged that as fake news. How about that? Anybody who tried, it was flagged as fake news. So unless they send their messages of congratulations through their ambassadors, I think, then maybe that's how it goes to President Museveni. And the 5th ground under which Bobi Wine wants or seeks for this election to be nullified is Petition Commission. And I think I said here before, and I'll repeat it again, the Electoral Commission of Uganda is bogus. There's not two ways about it. Did you see how it suspended, even the campaigns of the opposition, just a couple of days before the election, under grounds that were very flimsy, and whatever thing that the opposition was being accused of is the same thing the ruling party was doing. So there was no, the Electoral Commission was not a good referee in the just concluded elections there. So that is just my belief, and I'm sure, Douglas, you will agree with me on that. So let's see what Bobi Wine says here about the Petition Commission. And Wine claims that the Electoral Commission compromised its independence when it subjected its functions to the direction and control of candidate Museveni, state organs, agencies, and security institutions, which actions violate the Constitution. He also accuses the electoral body of failing to prevent multiple voting in various parts of the country, ballot stuffing, a failure to ascertain transit, tabulate and declare the actual results of the presidential elections transparently. He further blames the Electoral Commission and contends that by banning him from carrying out his campaigns in 16 districts, including the capital Kampala, his rights were frustrated as he did not associate or interface with his voters, and that this cost him votes that would have made him the winner of the presidential election. Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. And we need to understand the context in which the people of Uganda are talking from today, and especially the leader of opposition, Bobi Wine, today. The people in Uganda know that the Electoral Commission in Uganda is at the beck and call of General Museveni. These are his own appointees, and they are not independent. Completely, this commission is a commission that is full of Museveni people and people that don't love the people of Uganda. If they can stop the opposition from campaigning, and then General Museveni would put down his campaign paraphernalia and wear a suit, continue campaigning and launching projects in Uganda as if he's not spreading COVID himself, and also stopping the opposition from campaigning, and also very punitive measures they have been using to curtail the campaigns for the opposition people in Uganda, shows that this commission is one biased commission that I don't have faith also in. I have no completely faith in this commission, and even the declaration of their results. It is a fraud that they presided on, and also as they continue defending themselves, because I believe they are respondent in that case at the Supreme Court. These people at the Electoral Commission of Uganda should be held to account for the electoral fraud that they committed, that is the election in January 2021. Whatever happened at the Electoral Commission of Uganda, they know themselves. They know themselves what they have done, and also for the people of Uganda to move forward, they need to reform their Electoral Commission, and also for progress and a better tomorrow in Uganda. This Electoral Commission needs to go home, pack and go home, so that the people of Uganda can have their voices heard at the ballot when they want to vote for their leaders, and also for their people when they want fairness and also equality before the law, and including in the elections, by elections and whatever election that is going to happen between now and 2026. They need to reform the Electoral Commission, because it is the most biased commission that I've ever seen in my life. This is a commission that stops the people from campaigning, but allows the incumbent to continue stifling the voices of that are in millions in Uganda, and also stopping the will of the people from being exercised at the ballot, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. Kidi Mwaga, where are you? Umepotea sana bwana. Thank you so much for watching. Kidi says you're doing a good job. A very good afternoon to you, wherever you're watching us, and Nantale, Eva, and the rest of you who are watching us. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now, as I said there earlier, there's 26 grounds by which Bobi Wine is seeking for this election to be nullified, and 11 of them is against the Electoral Commission of Uganda. And among them is he's saying that EAC instituted selectively applied arbitrary guidelines and failed to prevent or stop ballot stuffing at multiple voting. And the other one is non-transparent tabulation, transmission, and declaration of results. I think we saw that, and even the internet was not there, so we don't know how the electoral officials are able to submit the final votes to the tallying center. And when the Electoral Commission was asked, they said, you know what, and forget that we don't have the internet, we know how we're going to do that. And while they were saying that, the rest of the stakeholders, including the opposition outside of the ruling party, were not included in this process. So that really casted a lot of doubt, on the transparency of the whole process there. And the commission, another point, was under control and direction of candidate Museveni. We saw how Museveni came out to give his speech after he was declared the winner. And he sounded to me like he was the Electoral Commission of Uganda. When he was saying that this year's election was the most, what is the word that he used? He said it was the most cheating-free. I find that to be so ridiculous. It is the most cheating-free in all the elections that have happened in the history of Uganda, which he has been the beneficiary of those corrupt elections. But he's saying this time, this one was very free and fair in all manner of standards, in all forms and shapes. So whatever you're saying, that the election was not conducted well, those are your own stories. That is according to President Museveni. And also he failed in effective distribution of voting materials, and also he failed to the EAC failed to guarantee petitioner security and ensure his consultations happened uninterrupted. So what Bobi Wine is saying, you were not a very fair referee, and he has 11 claims here against the Electoral Commission. Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. And we need to understand that the people of Uganda need to know that the man that is in power today, General Museveni, nobody invited him to be president over 36 years ago. He's a man that invited himself and has took the reins of power, and he has never relinquished power in Uganda peacefully. Since he took power, he has been steering elections, and what has been happening in terms of elections in Uganda has been a fraud and a charity for over 6 years ago. These people in Uganda have never voted for a president of their choice. These people that Uganda, the general President Museveni says that this was a cheating-free election in the history of Uganda. This is the most fraudulent election in history of Uganda. People in Uganda need to understand that General Museveni himself is sitting on an illegal mandate. General Museveni is sitting on an illegal mandate that he has stolen from the millions of Ugandans. The Ugandan people and our population have not trusted General Museveni with this position that he is sitting on. And what the people of Uganda should be praying is that sanity shall be restored in the Supreme Court. But like I have said, I've pronounced myself, I don't believe in the Supreme Court and also the Electoral Commission in Uganda. But if they decide otherwise against my wishes, it is to the better of the people of Uganda. It is what I advocate for, so that we can be able to deal with this perennial electoral fraudster in the name of General Museveni. Okay. Because the people of Uganda themselves are tired. People in Bare are tired. People in Masaka are tired. People in Kampala City are tired. We saw the way they were teaching him a lesson in Bare, the way they were teaching him a lesson in Luera, in every part of Uganda. And at the end of the day, sanity shall be restored in Uganda, including if it is not through this Supreme Court. There is a way the people of Uganda are going to unshackle themselves from this dictator who has been holding their country at ransom. And the way he speaks when he goes to the media, he speaks as if the Electoral Commission belongs to him, it is headed by his wife. He speaks as if the people of Uganda are his own subjects and he is their king. People should understand, and especially the people that did Museveni, the Sam Kutasas of this world, his in-law, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, and others who had Museveni in power, they need to understand that democracy and also progress to be found in Uganda, for a better forward-looking nation in Uganda, for a happy Uganda, General Museveni and his cronies must go home so that Uganda can go back to a path of true reform and true democracy. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you so much. And as you're speaking and casting a lot of doubts over that ruling that you will be given there by the Supreme Court after hearing this election petition, some of our viewers here are telling us what is happening there in Uganda. Ibo Kande, you're saying, we want Michael Chibita to resign. He is the lawyer for Museveni. And then Patrick Mudilo followed there by saying, how can the accused meet up with the judges of Supreme Court before hearing them? We call this injustice. So apparently, from what one of our viewers here is saying, Patrick Mundilo, is that the accused, which I think are the lawyers of, courtesy of the lawyers of President Museveni, they've had a meeting, allegedly, with the judges of the Supreme Court before hearing. And then they're saying, how can we call that justice? Patrick, please give us more information there on what is happening. So as I said there, Bobby Wine has 11 petitions against the Electoral Commission. He has 6 against President Museveni, and he has 9 against the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda. So I don't want to get too much into that because our time is quickly moving, because I'd like for us to look at the latest there. And as I said there, Bobby Wine amended his petition yesterday, and in the amended petition filed in the Supreme Court, Chagulanyi contends that as an incumbent, Museveni was ineligible to take part in the January 14th presidential election. Chagulanyi states Museveni was not qualified for election as president while in the office of the office of the head of state, head of government, commander-in-chief, and the chairperson of the National Security Council. He adds that because Museveni was the incumbent, he abused the presidency by commanding or directing forces under his command, control, and authority, such as the Special Forces Command, Uganda's People Defense Forces, Uganda Police Force, the Internal Security Organization, resident district commissioners, local defense unit, and special police constables to brutalize, torture, maim, and assault him, his agents, and supporters. He adds that the forces also interfered with the electoral process to his benefit. Chagulanyi's amended petition also alleges that Mr. Museveni, during the election period, in the exercise of his powers as commander-in-chief, reshuffled forces with personnel notorious for brutality and partisanship, such as his son, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who was appointed as commander of SFC, and Major General Paul Lokech, who was appointed as the deputy IGP, who then, according to him, perpetrated electoral violence and brutality against Chagulanyi and other candidates and their respective agents and supporters. So let's just start there. Mr. Bobby Wine is saying, first of all, President Museveni was not supposed to be running as a president, having all these titles that, favor and protect him.
Thank you, Miriam. I think when you want to go to elections, you need to
Okay, we apologize. Your signal is not very good. Are you able to hear me now? All right. We apologize. The signal there from
some of these titles that General Museveni. Yes, Miriam.
Go ahead. We had a bit of a signal problem there, but go ahead. Go ahead. Very well. As we wait for Douglas, he suffered a bit of a technical hitch there. Once he's able to come back and complete his thought process there. Douglas, can you hear me now?
Thank you, Miriam. Yes, Miriam.
I think your signal is not very good, so you can just check.
Yes, I can, Miriam.
Okay, go ahead. Very well. So I'll just leave that.
Thank you, Miriam.
I'm not able to get you. Okay. Can you hear me now? Go ahead.
Thank you. We need to understand the people of Uganda at this point in their history. they are being ruled by a dictator who has been able to install his son and also people that are very favorable to him in power, so that he can continue perpetuating that in his leadership and dictatorship in Uganda. For Bobby Wine to go to court and also say that General Museveni was not eligible to run for president because of that. Also, it is true that General Museveni has perpetuated nepotism that has aided violence against the opposition and also aided him to continue ruling in Uganda, and also for him to contest for president with all state power and machinery under his hands, in his hands. It is very wrong for him to be able to give him a competitive advantage against the people who are running against him in that election. And I believe that the Supreme Court of Uganda, in their most humane way, they are going to nullify this election, and the people of Uganda are going to give their true mandate to the man or a woman of their own choice without being compelled to by the Electoral Commission in Uganda and also General Museveni and his people in power. Because at the end of the day, why is General Museveni, after 36 years in power, what is it that he wants to do in his 70s to 80s that he has not been able to do? For over 36 years, the people of Uganda have accepted his dictatorship so that they can be sat on by him, so that they can continue being suppressed and having their voices stifled, such that they cannot be able to ask for anything from Museveni except his dictatorship and also bad leadership tendencies that he has exhibited for about 36 years, Miriam. So I believe at this point, it is only left for the Supreme Court and the people of Uganda to pray that this Supreme Court of Uganda, that General Museveni controls, gives a fair ruling to Bobby Wine and the opposition and the people of Uganda for them to be able now to find a clearer path to a more reformed and a more democratic Uganda. Thank you, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, the latest there from Uganda, some news from earlier on. President Museveni, the Electoral Commission, and Attorney General, who are respondents in a case in which a National Unity Platform presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi petitioned the Supreme Court challenging Mr. Museveni's victory, have asked the judges to dismiss his application seeking amendment. As I said there, Bobby Wine's team introduced amendments to the petition yesterday. So now President Museveni, the Electoral Commission, and Attorney General, who are the respondents in this case, are asking the court to dismiss this application. Now, Mr. Kyagulanyi, through his lawyers, led by Mr. Midad Sengona, have asked court to amend the petition to allow more evidence on grounds that after the presidential elections on January 14th, Kyagulanyi was placed under house arrest, which subjected him to post-election detention trauma that hindered him from putting together all the evidence he had for his petition in the stipulated time of 15 days. They put him, I think, under house arrest for 11 days. So I think they wanted to disfranchise him. So by the time is out there, he does not have himself together. So, however, Mr. Museveni's lawyers, led by Mr. Ibat Biencha, I guess that's how you pronounce that, Kya. In Kenya it will be Kia, but there I think it's Chair, have told the panel of 9 justices, led by Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny Adolo, that the power to amend Mr. Kyagulanyi's petition in the short time frame does not arise because the rules of the Supreme Court have always provided for specific times within which to file and hear such petitions. So they're saying, no, we cannot amend the time frame. Biencha contended that if the court is inclined to grant Kyagulanyi's application, it should not allow amendment after the time to file the petition has expired. However, this is what one of the judges there said when the Chief Justice Owiny Adolo asked Mr. Biencha about the inconvenience of the house arrest on Kyagulanyi's petition. He argued that other National Unity Platform officials and lawyers should have prepared the petition while he was under house arrest. So, they kept Kyagulanyi for I think 11 days there under house arrest with no reason at all. In fact, his biggest, crime was running against President Museveni, and we talked about it here during those elections and after elections there that happened in Uganda. And so 11 days under house arrest, he was not able able to get in touch with his lawyers. He was not able to get in touch with his team, basically. And we know that the government went and vandalized the opposition's headquarters, their offices. So really, they really did not have anything. They had to scrape for whatever kind of evidence they needed so that they're able to file this petition. So now the government side, the lawyer for President Museveni, comes and says, we cannot allow for more time. And the judge asks, this person was under house arrest. So perhaps, don't you think he requires more time, to ensure that he's able to put his petition together? And the lawyer for Museveni argues that even if he was under house arrest, he had his lawyers who would have prepared the petition. I mean, it's ridiculous. Go ahead, Douglas. How would you respond to that? They vandalized their offices, first of all the evidence that probably were there. Mm-hmm.
It is ridiculous, like you have said. General Museveni has been able to abuse his power, has gone ahead to destroy their offices so that they cannot be able to fight this petition. But Bobby Wine and his people are very smart. They are documented and also started fighting their petition before the elections were done. Because at the end of the day, what explains how the Bobby Wine team can be able to argue their court cases now, their NAP offices, their opposition offices who are vandalized. The General Museveni has gone and searched everywhere that he needs evidence. But at the end of the day, the people of Uganda, who are smarter than General Museveni himself and his people, have been able to fill a petition through Bobby Wine and also their lawyers. Remember, these people who are insulting the intelligence, the corrective intelligence of the people of Uganda, the lawyers that belong to General Museveni in Uganda are very shameless. Why would the Bobby Wine, who did not know he could even survive the house arrest ordeal? What if General Museveni decided to kill him after he had filed the case? So there's no basis of these lawyers when they go to court and argue that Bobby Wine and his lawyers, would Bobby Wine be able to win a case or also file a case when he was under house arrest? What if General Museveni had decided to kill him and do away with him altogether and deal with the murder case? Mm-hmm. So these people who are saying that Bobby Wine should have filed his case before are very biased, and also I hope the bench will be able to sit down and rethink, and also they think about the submissions made by the lawyers that represent General Museveni and his NRM party. Because at the end of the day, why would they accuse Bobby Wine of not filing the case? Because he had lawyers. Yes, he had lawyers, but this man was under house arrest, and we don't know what General Museveni can do next. That is a very unpredictable dictator that you don't know what he can do for against your person next. So I don't believe.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I don't believe, in all honesty, that Bobby Wine should have filed his case before because he had lawyers. We don't know that Bobby Wine would have survived to today. I think also Bobby Wine himself thinks it is a miracle that the general did not do anything to him. Maybe Bobby Wine would be crippled or dead today. But we thank God that they are here. I hope the Supreme Court is going to give their verdict as soon as possible, so that after here we can go to ICC, because I don't believe in this Supreme Court in Uganda, Miriam. I don't have faith in it totally. I have no faith in this thing. I hope they go to ICC, Miriam.
They might just decide to surprise us. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they have
maybe
some
they decide this case, Miriam, and run to Kenya because there is peace in this country, or go to United Kingdom. And not nullify General Museveni's election and continue being in Uganda. Maybe, yes. I don't know.
Yes, very well. They might decide to surprise us. And speaking about running in Kenya, we know that Stella Nyanzi, a political critic of President Museveni, fled to the country on Saturday. We shall look at some of the interview she did here in the country, and a lot of things she's raising here which are quite worrying. People being abducted and not seen, people being pulled from their homes in the middle of the night. It's quite worrying there, the things that Stella Nyanzi said. And she did flee to Kenya on Saturday. She disguised herself together with her family, and she's in Kenya safe and sound. And we also know some other opposition leaders from Tanzania also flee in Kenya. See, that's why we need a very stable Kenya, so that we are able to offer a safe haven to our neighbors when they need it, like they do, some of them right now. All right, okay. So the Electoral Commission's legal team, responding to the new amended petition by Bobi Wine's team yesterday. So this is what the Electoral Commission's legal team, led by Mr. Joseph Matsiko, they argued that what is compromised in Mr. Chagulanyi's application for amendment are new grounds that were never included in the original petition and therefore should not be admitted by the Supreme Court after the expiry of the 15 days within which he had to file the petition. He was under house arrest for 11 days. So he did not have 15 days. That he did not have 15 days. He had 4 days because 11 days he was under house arrest, Mr. Lawyer there, Mr. Joseph Matsiko. And this is what he said. This is the lawyer for the Electoral Commission there in Uganda. It is not permissible to introduce new grounds outside the time frame allowed by the Constitution, so the amendment should not be allowed. There are 15 electoral offences, including bribery, that Mr. Chagulanyi accuses the respondents. However, Mr. Matsiko argues that the amendments in the Amama Mbambazi election petition, which Mr. Chagulanyi is relying on, were ordinary amendments and not new evidence, and he therefore invited the justices to dismiss the application with cost. When it comes to the amendment of the presidential election petition, the Constitution does not provide for amendment, especially when it introduces a fresh courses of action, because the time stipulated is 15 days, and those 15 days is cast in stone. That is what the lawyer for the Electoral Commission there said. But in his response, the Attorney General, Mr. William Byaruhanga, the third respondent, also asked the Supreme Court to dismiss the application for amendment. And this is what he said. This is the Attorney General of the Republic of Uganda. The election petition is constitutionally time-bound. The petitioner has had time to read through my answers and then come up with amendments. The said amendment application is intended to defeat the answers of the respondent. By the time of filing, of course, the court was still hearing the arguments and submissions from Mr. Chagulanyi and the respondent's legal team. So as I said there, the petition is underway. I don't know if right now they have taken a break or what, but by the time I was sitting here, that was about 50 minutes ago, it was still underway. So I don't know if it's still on or if they've taken a break. So now let's talk about this Ugandan activist, even as some 8 minutes to go here. Now, Ugandan academic political activist Dr. Stella Nyanzi has fled to Nairobi. This was confirmed by his lawyer, Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya, who cited political persecution by President Yoweri Museveni's government for the move. Dr. Nyanzi, a former research fellow at Makerere University who ran for Kampala a member of parliament seat in last month's general election, arrived in Nairobi by bus on Saturday. And she's quoted as saying, "The abductions and detentions of political actors were getting closer to me. My children have been targets of police trailing. I just left prison in February. Remember last year, she was released from prison, but I think she insulted the president's mother or something like that. So that took her to prison. Those were the charges. And she left prison in February last year, and I don't want to go back," Dr. Nyanzi said in a telephone interview with the East African Standard. That is a newspaper here in Kenya. She crossed the Ugandan-Kenya border in disguise to avoid detection by security agents. Her children are also in a safe house in Nairobi. Now, the Forum for Democratic Change candidate came third in the January 14th, 2021 presidential elections, won by National Unity Platform candidate Shamim Malende. President Museveni, who has been in power for nearly 35 years now, was declared the winner there. So there you go. So Stella Nyanzi has come to Kenya, and she's raising some of these very worrying, concerns of what is happening there in Uganda. Should the rest of us be worried for the people there in Uganda?
Thank you, Miriam. And I also think I have not agreed with the way Stella Nyanzi has carried out her campaigns, especially malicious campaigns against Bobi Wine and also other opposition leaders in Uganda. She came out as someone that was besmirching others and also belittling others and also the ambitions to be president and all that. But my problem ends when our rights are abused and when our freedom is stifled by a dictator in Uganda. And also for our fight for activism, I rode up for that. And for the people in Uganda, Stella Nyanzi can be able to disappear and come to Kenya. Bobi Wine can go to USA. Bobi Wine can go anywhere because these people have money. What about the ordinary Ugandans that oppose this dictator? There is a man that was filmed when he said that he was wearing NRM t-shirt so that he can go and receive some money and urge the populations in Uganda to go and vote for Bobi Wine. But this young man has been able to be beaten by police. He has been able to be electrocuted, and Bobi Wine went to visit him in hospital. But when we see these things happening to ordinary Ugandans, there are people who have died in Uganda. About 54 people died in a span of 2 days. A boxer died in Uganda, and General Museveni went on an international television and also national televisions in Uganda and said that, yes, it is our security forces that have killed this man. Yes, and he didn't even apologize for that. And at the end of the day, it shows that to an extent which General Museveni can be able to go for him to be able to get to power. As I submit, Miriam, I hope that the International Criminal Court has pitched a tent in Uganda so that they can be able to get this dictator and jail him. No matter the support that the General Museveni has been able to offer to ICC, these are fresh cases, cases that he has committed against crimes against humanity. He has killed people in Uganda, displaced some, sent some on exile, self-exile like Stella Nyanzi, and others who have also been killed in this electioneering period. Miriam, the people of Uganda are crying. Every place in Uganda, people are crying. They want justice dispensed seriously and expeditiously the way the General Museveni has been able to use security forces to continue killing the people of Uganda, stifling the development as a people, and also stopping democratic processes from taking place. Miriam, I hope that God can now intervene in this issue, because now I have said before, I have lost faith in the Electoral Commission. It failed the people of Uganda. Okay. We have seen Supreme Court, the way they are allowing frivolous submissions from biased Electoral Commission of Uganda, lawyers and also lawyers that represent General Museveni from taking place in a court of law. Okay. Things that should not even hold water in a court of law. These judges are opening their ears, who spent years in law schools and also school of law, so that they can be able to read law and also understand and also be able to dispense justice to the people of Uganda. These are the same people that have been entrusted with this case that involves a dictator. These are the same people in Uganda, in the Supreme Court of Uganda, who continue allowing a dictator to be in power, Miriam. Okay. I pray that the people of Uganda will get justice, and I'm praying for everyone, including Bobi Wine, so that he is not hurt by this dictator, Miriam. Okay. Thank you, and I submit. And thank you for having me on the show today, Miriam.
Thank you so much, Douglas Kirim. It was really, really a pleasure. Thank you for adding your voice to this very important conversation that I think we shall continue to follow. I think we covered the elections, we covered the post-election and whatever was happening there. And this is a story that is very close to what we do here, and we shall continue following what is happening there in Uganda. So I'll just read some details very quickly. Meanwhile, the NRM, as I said, there has lined up about 40 lawyers to defend the party against the petition. NRM's legal director, Oscar Kihika, yesterday expressed sympathy for the petitioners, saying only 20%, look at them being so cocky over there, only 20% of the evidence collected is useful. He referred to the rest as wolokoso, which I think in Uganda, I don't know, it refers to hearsay. He says they are prepared enough for such petitions, and this is what Kihika is said to be saying. It will be silly not to prepare for an election petition. You start preparing early so that when the petitions come, you're prepared. I feel sorry for the petitioners. It is only 20% of the evidence collected that is useful. The rest is hearsay. So he's saying they've been preparing. While Bobi Wine was being held incommunicado in his house under house arrest, and his lawyer could not even access him, they're preparing because they knew the petition was coming. This is just wrong. And the latest there from Uganda, the future of the Democratic Governance Facility, a donor-funded aid pool, rests on a brief that Finance Minister Matia Kasaija sent President Yoweri Museveni after the latter questioned how the fund was authorized to be operated exclusively by foreign mission in Uganda. In a January 2nd letter to the Finance Minister, President Museveni directed that the activities of DGF be suspended, saying it was unacceptable that the fund was not only irregularly and unilaterally set up, but was also a foreign mission designed to subvert his government. because somebody brought up the issue of EU, they're supporting him. Now, the foreign mission and the so-called funders have been given free rein by the Ministry of Finance to choose which activity, entities, and the amounts to finance without the knowledge or consent of the government. Indeed, a big percentage of these funds have been used to finance activities and organizations designed to subvert government under the guise of improving governance. That is what President Museveni wrote. Therefore, directing you to immediately suspend the activities of this fund until the cabinet has fully reviewed this matter and a new governance structure in which the elected representatives of the people of Uganda have appropriate oversight has been put in place and approved by me. That is the President of Uganda, President Museveni. Now, the European Union and 5 other countries from the bloc, that is Austria, Denmark, Ireland, and the Netherlands and Sweden, fund the DGF to the tune of $500 billion US. 500 billion Uganda shillings. That equates to about 135.7 million US dollars to fund supports more than 70 mostly civil society organizations, but also a number of state agencies and institutions are all now staring at a potential bleak future. A source close to President say he is very sensitive to not very well-known funds bankrolled by Europeans and Americans. Setting up shop in Kampala, the source cites a trade facilitation fund which in 2010 approached the Ministry of Trade for endorsement, but President Museveni was uncomfortable with the group, thinking they were spies or agents of money laundering outfits. All right, very well. So President Museveni there being very skeptical of these donors that have been in Uganda since a couple of years ago. All right, very well. So as I said there, this is a story that we shall continue following there. The Ugandan election petition is underway and has started, and so we shall be bringing you up to date with what is happening there, even as we receive, as I said there earlier. Douglas, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, our viewers. I see a lot of you. You're saying Wolokoso is not a name. Wolokoso, it means fake. Okay. All right. The lead counsel there for President Museveni said those he referred to that as hearsay. I suppose hearsay is something that cannot be substantiated. All right, very well. Thank you so much, Nantale Eva. You're saying 300 people have been kidnapped and nobody knows where they are. Uganda is bleeding. We need justice. And by the way, I think internal security minister, I think, the other day came out, General, is it JJ? Did I have that story with me here? JJ Odongo told lawmakers on Thursday that at least 31 of 44 alleged kidnapping victims are yet to be traced. That admission has drawn criticism from many Ugandans who point out that the people are taken at night in vans without license plates. So even the government itself has admitted, yes, we collected some individuals and we don't know where they are. What government does that? In which world is this even okay? This is a criminal government, if you ask me. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you here tomorrow. Thank you for watching. My name is Miriam Oguti. Bye-bye for now.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.